Hey guys, Adrian here, and you guys made an obvious first choice what to talk about, so let's get going with Tumblr. So, last time I gave a fairly quick summary on some important aspects of posting to Tumblr, and today I'm going to slow down a bit and expand on these important features. There's quite a few topics I'll go over: visibility, search, navigation, tags, links, theme, and a couple extras to consider. Disclaimer beforehand, everything I'm talking about is rooted in experience and study, so for some things, your mileage may vary. Each of you will have a somewhat different experience, and some factors may work better or worse for you, so experiment and find your personal sweet spot. First thing about visibility. You want to double check within your blog-specific settings near the bottom of the list. There will be 3 toggles: to hide your Tumblr site so that it's viewable only from the dashboard, to hide from search engines, and mark your blog to be safe for work or not safe for work. Under normal circumstances, all 3 should be off. However, if your blog contains frequent explicit content, you'll need to toggle the last one, respectively to viewers. That said, Tumblr may well take things into its own hands and toggle and lock it itself, as well as toggle and lock the search result option. So you're aware, you may inherently have a more uphill fight by virtue of simply having an explicit blog. The search system is special. There's a ton of ways to approach it, and they each can give different results. The most common way of using it is simply typing in a keyword and getting results. This, generally speaking, is where Tumblr will decide whether or not to show something based on the typed content of a post, or a general look at the first 20 tags in a post. How it decides what's most popular or most recent is admittedly nebulous, and Tumblr doesn't exactly give clearer criteria, so assumptions have to be made. The next way to use it is to add hashtags plus the keyword. This invokes more specifically, though not necessarily always, the first 5 tags of a post. Past that, it functions overall the same as without adding the hashtags. Lastly, by changing the URL, you can use a dashboard search by adding /tag and insert hashtag there to the base URL. This tends to give similar results to the traditional hashtag search, though I can't verify they're one-to-one the same. You'll also use this method within specific blogs to search their own tags. So the tags, as I said in the last video, these play a big role in driving discovery outside of your initial posting in reblogs. As a general rule of thumb, the first 5 are indexed within Tumblr's tag search system. However, the first 20 will also go into the broader search. That said, Tumblr acknowledges, even within its open information, that it's not always an exact result. Tumblr admits the overall search system's criteria changes subtly and regularly, and only a couple posts of yours might show up one day, whereas another day, a ton of your posts could appear. So none of this is absolute, but it's largely the base. So what you're realistically aiming for is covering a broad enough base that realistically something should come up at any given point across your whole library of posts. When tagging, you want to strike a balance between broader subject tags and very fine specific tags. For example, if you're drawing fan art, you definitely want to post the name of the title from which the fan art source originates, and even the overall franchise name. Then you want to add a specific name of the character, and 1 or 2 variations if applicable. Think about what you would expect it to come up under if you're given a particular search. Also, consider tagging your username as well, or if it's even gift art to someone else, add their username as a tag too. As said before, focusing on the first 5 in this way is often best, then use the remaining ones more as navigational tools for your blog specifically. For example, just about any time I post something related to my head world, I tag Isravir, since that's essentially its title, and if the post is about something about world building or information as opposed to just a regular random illustration, I tend to give it the world building tag. This is for you just as much as someone coming in from the outside, and makes it also easy to just share a whole tag about something on your blog with someone instead of having to look for specific posts. For the most part being straightforward, links are easily added by highlighting a chunk of text to bring up the option overlay. The symbol looking like a tilted number 8 or a chain link is what you want to click to add a hyperlink into that chunk of text. If you're linking a fellow Tumblr user, I would recommend instead a mention by typing the symbol @ after which it should bring up a list of users that you can then start typing to get a particular one. I've had cases where it doesn't manage to bring up some individuals, so there's a chance it might not give you what you want, but it usually works. And in that case, it actually gives a notification to that person so they know you've posted something for them. Now, Tumblr is weird about external links. It acknowledges in the help area that some links will cancel searchability, but not necessarily all. It doesn't really give examples, so you'll just have to test. The best way to generally go around it altogether is to utilize the source area within the posting metadata section, or what some call double links, which are links to go to redirect links that you created within your theme, which is what we'll talk about next. Theoretically, everyone's messed with their theme when they got started on Tumblr, so we'll skip an explanation of what a theme is in the first place. What you want to know is how to utilize them better. It's easy enough to access them usually with a painting color palette symbol when you're on your own page. Otherwise, go to your blog settings to find it. First of all, on the sidebar, I'd highly recommend toggling the Show Archive link, Show Home link in navigation, and definitely Show Tags. You want people to be able to navigate your blog after all, and you don't want to make it hard for them. I prefer to toggle the options about showing followed people and liked posts off, because, hey, that's more so for me to know. Also, disable endless scrolling maybe, but I'll talk more about why in a moment. Also, while scrolling, you may notice a Google Analytics section. If you want to track visitations and info about demographics, time frame, and the like when people come to your actual blog, not just the dashboard, I'd recommend signing up for Google Analytics. Going under those is where you're allowed to make extra navigation links at your discretion for your page. I use them to make links to all my other sites, and here's where you create your double link system. When you create these links, you have a few options: standard layout and custom layout for building a new page altogether, a good idea for making its own sub-master post of sorts, for like a list of characters or topics or something. But what you really may want is the redirect option. When you use this, it'll ask you at the bottom what site you want that link to go to. In the middle, you create a unique ending for the URL. It's this new URL that you'll use to create your site links within individual posts instead of using the site's actual URLs, in the case that Tumblr doesn't actually like where they're going. It likes links that go to its own pages, and that's basically what you're doing with this. You technically created a new page with the redirect link that's still within Tumblr, but accessing that page automatically sends you again to the other site. So it's like a Mario warp pipe, or whistle. I'm old. Now, the last things I want to talk about are a few extra features that are worth considering use of, or in one case, disuse. Endless scrolling. I call it being lazy. Here's the thing. With endless scrolling, it's actually been psychologically proven that people will be more likely to just scan past things without really taking a look. So it's best to actually leave it as a certain amount of posts per page so that people will actually take a little bit more time to stop and look and absorb what you've actually done. Since, well, if you're doing art, that's what you're here for, is to actually have people look at what you did. Next up, queuing and post time. Each site kind of does have its own peak time and broader dead times, and when you post, you could actually change your initial impact. There's a couple things going around on the net giving a pretty fair example of peak and dead times for social media sites. I would scale it relative to your location, but even more so to your broadest audience base, which actually kind of goes back to the analytics for a second. For example, seeing that info, I know just about everywhere that more than 50 to 75% of my viewer base across the board is in America. So taking one of these charts, for example, using Eastern Standard Time, realistically, I probably shouldn't post well between midnight and noon if I want a chance to hit a bigger audience. In fact, the best times to post are evidently between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. for Tumblr. If you know you're not going to be around but still want to hit these general zones, Tumblr does allow you to schedule a post to go up at a specific time and day. Useful. Lastly, this is totally optional but interesting to see, reblog graphs. You can see these by enabling the option in Tumblr Labs in your settings, but this will actually show you how your reblog spread or didn't. By clicking on individual circles, you can see who reblogged the post and just how many further reblogs they spawned following, or you can see all the posts where they stopped. But it also tells you just from how many potential points it could hit another point of growth. Anyways, that more or less covers everything I could think of to talk about as far as Tumblr is concerned. Let me know if any of the info was helpful and what site to cover next. If you like this video, like this video. Don't forget to share this with your friends who also use Tumblr, as maybe they might already know all of the things I mentioned, but maybe one little thing might be news to them. Anything to help be a better user. And the more people watch the vid, the more YouTube itself decides to share it further, so even simply your watching can enable someone else much farther out to see. Next week will be the guaranteed monthly time-lapse, but after that I'll hit the next website based on what you guys asked for. Also, last week I said at the end that we should try and hit 100 subscribers by the end of April, and wow, we're already there as of yesterday. Thank you! I hope to continue to put up fun and also helpful things going forward. And for fun, Let's try shooting for 200 by the end of April. See how far we can go. If you haven't already, hit subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so YouTube can tell you when the next video is up. I aim to upload on Saturdays, so keep your eyes peeled. Until then, I'll catch y'all next time.